Well, shucks. Hello again. This is the one and only singing. Well, not as good as I want to. Dancing. I thought I was pretty good until I danced with a dance instructor. That was fun. DJ. Well, I used to be a DJ on the radio, and that's why I was one and only singing, dancing DJ Sandy K. I'm coming at you right here from WPWC radio station, Dumfries Triangle, Quantico, Virginia. Well, that station is no longer in existence because it was an AM station, but now there's podcasting, there's YouTube, and so here I am. Now, I started this YouTube channel because my awesome son suggested that I was a better storyteller than I was a singer. In fact, when he was a little boy, he would not, when he was a baby and I was singing to him, if I sang anything except two songs, he would cry. And if it was my song, forget that. He wasn't dealing with that. No, he'd scream. He'd scream. But he did like Bobby Darin's. I think it's Take Good Care of My Baby, and then the Everly Brothers. I can't remember which one that one was, but there was two songs they would let me sing, and he would go to sleep, but they weren't my songs. Now, my daughter, on the other hand, when she was a baby, and she liked my songs. But now, when she turned about 14 or something like that, and I was in a now she tells me that my music ruined her life. Now, she might think that because when I was recording Billy You Were a Hero, which I wrote in honor of my nephew who got killed at age 16 and had donated his organs because he had seen it on my driver's license before I got shot, and now I can't donate. I don't think they'd want my organs. It's got too much scar tissue around it. So I thought, well, shucks, he's doing something I wanted to do, but I can't do it now. So ain't he a hero if he's giving his organs to somebody? I thought so. So it took me almost a year to write that song because I kept breaking down. And when I was recording it, I kept breaking down. And finally, Gantman Kushner, he's pretty big recording studio over in Maryland. And he told me, he said, Sandy, we've been in here, we were in there 7 hours. That's pitiful. My daughter now at the time was supposed to play flute on this song, but she couldn't because she had cancer. And I didn't know it, and she was in the bathroom vomiting. And I hated myself for that. You know, I didn't know. She didn't tell me she was vomiting. And the girl that was watching her while I was in the studio didn't tell me she was vomiting. It meant too much to me, she said, so she didn't. I guess that's why she feels my music ruined her life. But I don't see that. My music allowed me to get on the radio and help support my children. It allowed me to sell advertising, which I did. In fact, I sold advertising to one of the men that developed and patented the electric engine. And I was proud of that fact, and I think I got that contract because Cousin Ray couldn't, because I believed in clean energy. I believed in saving the earth. I believed that we could make something that wouldn't ruin our environment. So, I do believe that. I believe humans have done more damage to this earth than any animal on it. That's a fact. I mean, I hate my mommy. Oh my God, she hated walking down the roads and she see all the trash people threw up. She made us take a bag. She made us pick it up. If it was paper, we burnt it and we put the ashes over our gardens. It helped the gardens grow. If it was plastic, she would take it and put rocks in it or something and build a rock wall with it. It was, or she'd make a bird's nest or a bird's feeder out of it. She didn't burn it. Burning it's bad. But paper you could burn, you know. Well, anyways, my son wanted me to tell stories, and I had to say that. My mom was a brilliant woman when it came to saving the earth or doctoring people. She dug herbs for medicine, and she healed us that way. So she's gone now, but I miss her and my dad. I have a brother gone, a sister gone. And of course, my nephew Billy, who I wrote the song Billy, You Were a Hero. Now that's on here, but I can't find it. I put original music on here from my CD, and now it's just disappeared. I can't find it nowhere at all. I mean, I've been trying to send it to somebody that I wanted to hear it, and I can't find it, so I might have to put it back on there again. Now that CD is registered in Library of Congress to me, so it can't be taken. If it does, well, they'd have a lawsuit on their hand, you know what I mean? Now my son says when you do YouTube, whatever you put on YouTube is yours, but then I found out YouTube owns it too. So now I'm afraid to put songs on here, but I'll tell stories. I should probably still put songs on there so people could hear them if they were important. I just wrote a new one. It's about a family that took me in to help me out. Now that's a story. When I was 16, my sister found out that you could work in a factory when you're 16 without a high school diploma. So she came down the mountains and she got me. I thought I was going to go to high school. No, you can't go to high school. You started school too late. Well, they wouldn't let me start the school when I was supposed to because I was too little and there wasn't a bus. Okay? We didn't have a bus to buses. I wish. We had to walk in mud out the holler to catch a bus, and sometimes the damn bus driver didn't like us. He'd close the door in our face because we had muddy feet. Well, your bus should have been going up the holler, you moron. Anyways, so schooling, I wanted to go to school so bad. They wouldn't let me, but I read my sister's books. So by the time I got in school, I was ahead of everybody. I taught myself. Mommy taught me how to read the Bible, and I read my sister's books. So now I was going to elementary school, a place called Blackie, Virginia. They took the Blackie name off. Oh, we don't want that. No, that's going to look bad on us. We don't want that. Well, but Mrs. Hensley was the principal of Blackie School. And she was the most awesome teacher in the whole world. I wish we had teachers like her more of, We don't pay our teachers enough. We don't give them enough benefits to make them want to teach. But it's important to have teachers that love children and, not teachers. Whoa, you better stop it and hit your fingers with a dabbling ruler. Come on. Let's have some teachers that have interest in children's learning, not in their discipline. That should be done at home. Well, anyways, you see how I am. I get carried away and talk about everything but the story. So I went to school. But now I do have to thank one lady. Her name was Catherine. I think she was Gibson before she married a Bailey. But when she realized they wouldn't let me go to school and maybe some other kids they weren't letting to go to school, her and my mother and some other mothers went over to Grundy, Virginia. Corrupt Grundy, Virginia. Yes. And argued with the school board and made them let me go to school. Now, you see, people in Grundy don't like people in Hurley. You know why? Because some rich businessmen came into town and they changed the train from going through Hurley, which took away all the small businesses. Just depleted Hurley. Just took it away. Paying the politicians under the table. Here, you do this for me and put this train this way so we benefit better. I do not like corrupt politicians, period. And I can't stand the Republican Party who prevents people from voting, which I know for a fact they did because they prevented me in 2008. So don't sit there and tell me you don't. Truth is truth. If it is the truth. But you can't start Truth Social and lie all the time. God of mercy, what's wrong with you? Whew, some people can see through your lies, Some people can. Some people are idiots and don't. But some people can see through your freaking lies. I better hush. I think I'm trying to preach here, but that's okay. Maybe it should be some preaching going on when things are wrong. So Mrs. Hensley, she put a Christmas play on. And I think that's when I fell in love with the stage. She put a Christmas play on. Now, I didn't have a radio or a TV or running water or bathroom. We didn't even have a freaking outhouse. Good thing we lived up in the holler, where you could go hide and nobody could see you. But Ms. Hensley, she trained us and we practiced at home supposedly. But you see, the girl who had the leading part had a TV. She liked those cartoons or whatever they watched back then in the 50s and 60s. I don't know what they watched in the 50s, but we didn't have a TV, so I had no clue. But they were watching TV and they didn't remember the parts, so when it came time to do a rehearsal for the play, Christmas play, the leader, I had a small, tiny part in the end of the show. Maybe 2 or 3 words, It was just like, you're not important, we give you this tiny part. Anyways, the girl who had the TV and had the leading part didn't know her part. And so Ms. Hensley got frustrated and she said, is there anybody in this class who knows this part? I raised my hand because I knew the whole dang play. Yes, I did. If you wonder why I got gloves on, my daughter keeps her house cold and I'm freezing. My hands get cold, they hurt. So I put gloves on, keep them warm. So Ms. Hensley said, can you repeat it? I said, I can repeat the whole play to you. And so I did. She said, okay, you're going to get the lead part and then ending part. So when my mom comes to see the play, up I walk onto that stage to open the show. Boy, was I proud of myself. Well, I wasn't really yet proud of myself. Not yet. I was, oh my God, I'm doing this, But I walked out there and I see my mom and she's surprised to see me first because she knew I wasn't supposed to be the one being up there first because my only part was in the end. Her eyes lit up like a light. I go, wow, Mommy's happy. So then the lady whose daughter it was that had the leading part, she started complaining and said she ain't in the 5th grade. She's like in the 2nd grade. Well, my baby sister might have been in the 2nd grade. And she looked like me. Or I don't even think she was going to school yet. But anyways, Mommy said that she is that old. And she is in the 5th grade because that's my daughter. And so, the play continued and the woman's mad because her daughter ain't up there. Well, her daughter didn't know the part. Why didn't you have her practicing it? So I got off the stage and my mommy was so proud of me. And I like that. I ain't never seen my mommy proud of me. Usually she's a whipping me for something. Fights mostly. But when you're little and you're a girl, and then you don't like people picking on people that's little and they're bigger, so you defend the little people, well, you're going to get in fights now. So I got in quite a few, but I defended the little guy and did what I thought was right. So sometimes I didn't get whipped. That time I didn't get whipped when I busted that guy's head with a rock because he had this little boy down in the dirt and telling him to learn how to talk when it wasn't his fault he was born with a speech impediment. No, I didn't like that. So he got a bloody head for it, and they left me alone. Mommy went down there and had a talk with him, and she told him they better leave me alone because if she'd been me, she'd have done the same thing, and she didn't whip me that time. She sure didn't. She always kept a switch above the door, but I didn't get that switch that time. She said she was proud of me. So, to make my mommy proud, you had to be good in school, which I was, and you had to defend the little people, which I did. I never knew my mommy's proud though, till she died. No, well, she didn't die yet. She got sick, and we went and took turns to stay with her so she wouldn't have to go in a nursing home. I think that Kamala Harris is right when she says that people who take care of their parents at home ought to be compensated because it ain't easy. I spent my own money to help my mom stay out of a nursing home, and we took turns staying with her. As my sister Pete and my sister Grace and my sister and just me, the three of us. Those are the only ones that could. I lost a car for it and changed jobs for it and everything. And the job that I got was Pizza Hut in Grundy because I was working for Pizza up here. I was a shift manager. I get down there, they didn't want to make me shift manager. I said, like, hell, if I was smart enough to be shift manager up there, I'll be shift manager here. And so they weren't happy about that, and so they treated me like crap. And the manager was a shit ass manager. I don't know who it was, but he didn't know what he's doing. There was a big thing that was broke, and I told him, I said, if you don't fix that, somebody's gonna get hurt. And you're a manager, so you need to fix that. And he didn't. He spent the money on him instead of fixing the thing, and some girl got burned up and they got sued. I should have. Poor management. Oh, that's another job I had in my days. I worked in factories first, and then I went to college. How about that? No education, but I got a GED and went to college. I did. So, but Mom, and when I went to stay with her, she had this book, and she had all the things I had accomplished in that book. She had a newspaper clipping. I didn't even have that from when I went to a softball tournament in Florida. When I lived in South Carolina. I never even knew she kept those things. She had a picture of my first record I had out, in there. She had poems I'd written in there. She had the newspaper clipping when I got shot in there. She had all the newspaper clippings. She had the newspaper from Nashville, Tennessee that I was in when I was a DJ on the radio. They came to Dumfries, Virginia, and interviewed all the DJs there. It was called Country Plus magazine in Nashville, Virginia, Nashville, Tennessee. Probably ain't even in existence anymore, but I did not put it out of business. I left the radio station when my daughter got cancer, and he told me radio comes before my family. I said, like hell, and I just took my music off the air, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I was mad. I didn't want radios or TVs or anything to have anything to do with my music or me. If that's the way you're going to treat me, and I'm a single mom, my daughter's got cancer, being treated with chemo, and you tell me to go to work, and I'm a single mom, I'm the only one there with her. That's the way I felt about it. Well, anyways, I left the radio and pulled my music off the air. Cancer sure does put a hurting in everybody that goes through it. Thank God, or thank the great spirit of healing, my daughter survived cancer. And she had, now this is a funny story too. This is a part of a funny story too. When my daughter was 14 and started giving me trouble, I said to her, I said, Angel, honey, my God, I said, don't you realize that what you do to me is going to double when you grow up and have a daughter? Don't you realize, Angel, that what you do to me is going to be doubled on you, Angel? Double, double, double. She swears up and down that I got powers, and I cursed her because her first pregnancy was twin girls. Although her girls didn't give her trouble like she gave me when she turned 14. They didn't. They ended up being raised by her dad and her stepmom, and they turned out great. So, but she swears up and down I cursed her, but I didn't curse her. I was just saying what my mommy said to me when I do things. I was repeating what the hillbillies do. You know what you do to me, you're going to double on you. Don't you know that? Don't you know that? Yep. So, now, I've been suffering for my sins, let me tell you. When I was 1 year old, I almost died. Childhood disease. In fact, they gave me up for death, and Mommy went and bought a dress to bury me in, but I ended up going home with it. Shocker. And then when I was about 7 years old, I almost got killed in a coal bank cave-in. We had our own coal bank that we got our coal from, so we didn't have to buy coal. We owned the coal rights there. And we went in to go dig our coal out, and Mommy heard this. I didn't know what that was, but she did. It was water coming into the rocks, and it was the rocks pulling away from the top of the mine and caving in on us. And she said, Lord, Kate, we got to get out of here. Somebody's come in behind us and took the coal out. And they did. They went in behind us and stole every bit of our coal. And water came in, and we were crawling as fast as we could crawl. And she was pushing me because I wasn't crawling fast enough. And I was pulling a wagon with coal in it. And I was going as fast as I could go. And I made it out, and I got banged up. My hands got banged up, and my feet. But Mommy, God, you should have seen her poor legs. We got out of there just as it went boom. That was scary times. What we had to do is we had to crawl back, and I was smaller, so I crawled back in first. And I would drill a hole in the wall of the coal, and we'd stick a thing of dynamite in that hole. And then we had a big old fuse on the dynamite, and we crawled out of the hole. And we lit the fuse, and then we jumped out of the way while it blew the coal out. And then we go in, and we get the coal and bring it out to our stove. Well, we didn't get no more coal there no more. We sure didn't. There was no more coal. We had to buy coal then, and we didn't have money. So, hard times. I got to counting how many times I'd faced death, and including having my kids. I almost died having them. I bled out on both of them. And so, and all the times that I faced death and beat it, don't know how. 7. I counted them up. 7 times. I was robbed at a gas station, and that was my first head injury. And since then, I've had 21 more. So I'm surprised I even think or know my name. Actually, I had to go to Texas after the last head injury, which was a beating I took. So I had to actually teach myself how to talk, and if I get upset, you won't understand a word I say. I won't either. So I try not to get upset. I'm taking blood pressure medicine. Stress upsets you, and it drives your blood pressure up. So I'm okay, I think. Of course, now getting shot really did a damage. And that took 3 years of work out of me. And then after that, I went back to work. I worked, and then I have a car accident, and I wouldn't work, and then I have a car accident, and I wouldn't work, and so my work status is on and off. And of course, somebody took my identity and took all the Social Security I'd paid in out. When I went to get my Social Security, ain't none there hardly. So my Social Security ain't big. I need to make more money, so I'm gonna try to put our label back together and see if I can't get some shows going where somebody else can perform, and I'll just promote them. Write the songs and stuff, And that way I might do something. I would be happy because I'd be working in music. I love music. I love music. My sister told me, 2 of my sisters, older sisters who knew, told me from the time I started walking, or the time I started talking, I was singing, and the time I started walking, I was dancing. I said, okay, so that's where it comes from. My daddy, probably. He played a banjo, guitar, French harp, and a mandolin, and he played with Ralph Stanley Sr. in Grundy, Virginia. He played with him in Kermit, West Virginia. He played with him in probably Williamson, West Virginia, and he played all over with him in Kentucky and stuff. So he played with him a lot when they came down that way. Of course, Ralph Stanley Sr. didn't want to admit he knew my daddy until I told him I didn't want his money. I told him, Ralph, I write songs myself. I ain't wanting your songs. I know Daddy gave them to you. So don't play with me. And then he remembered my daddy. It was kind of hard to not remember my daddy because they had you laughing the whole time you knew him. It was real funny. He could have been a stand-up comedian in a heartbeat. He'd have you laughing so hard you'd be crying sometimes. I miss him too. He was a preacher. So I wrote a song called Get on Your Knees and Pray and Honor Him. I may have put it on here actually on my YouTube channel. I don't remember which songs I did put on there, but I put a lot of gospel songs on there. Thought they'd do somebody some good. I don't know if they did or not. Well, I think that's kind of long. They probably done turned me off right now. But I'll have these stories to remember. So when I start getting old where I can't remember, I can go back and pull up my YouTube and watch it on TV and say, hey, I said that. And that's a story I told. Peace. Love. Always. Harmony. Sure wish I could sing it.